About ready to get this thing started here. NFC North. NFC North Talk. Russell Wayne in the house. Main Event Mike in the house. All right, here it comes. Today on NFC North Talk with Russell Wayne. Justin Jefferson lands at number 2 on the top 100. TJ Hockenson with a contract injury. Green Bay trading Bakhtiari to the Jets. Probably not. We're going to talk about it anyway. Julius Peppers versus Yannick. Are you really comparing those two? And the Lions sign Teddy Bridgewater. Let's go. There's that catch. We might even be able to see that Bridgewater to Sewell tight end 1 connection right there. Welcome all to the NFC North Talk with Russell Wayne. That's me, Russell Wayne. Thank you. I am humbled that people would actually be out here on August the 8th, 2023, talking hardcore football right here in the dog days of summer. In the dog days of summer, that's where we are. I got Main Event Mike on the line. How are you doing, Main Event Mike?
I'm so good, Russ. I'm in a bad service area, though, so forgive me. Fuck up.
What? No, I'm kidding. Follow our Facebook page at Detroit Lions Villain Squad. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because that's what makes this thing go at Main Event 365. That's with the Lions main, by the way. And if you want to involve yourself even more than that, please like and share this video right now, right here. this video right here, if you help it get into your, badass networks, then it helps us get into more badass networks. And right now, if you're watching, you are obviously a diehard football fan because you're watching a talking head talk about football right here and right now. We appreciate you guys for being here today with us. Like Sebastian saying, good morning, Russell. And here to fight for my Vikings again. We got Skull fans in here. Jason, MC, Calvin. I know Calvin's a Mike. Is a Lions fan, and we forgive you, Mike. That's what Mike the Bear fan says, and we want to get right to it. Right? I mean, which one do you want to start? Did you hear me talking in the intro?
I did. Let's start with Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater, the Bridge quarterback, is here.
Teddy Two Gloves.
Teddy Two Gloves. You got to give me a take on that, Mike, because I know I love your take on Teddy Bridgewater. Go ahead.
We've been calling for this for a long time, right? Even a few months ago, before the draft, Brad Holmes put the offer out to Teddy Bridgewater, and then the story just kind of died. And we just assumed that maybe Teddy's out there shopping. Maybe he doesn't want to come and play for the Lions. Maybe he's looking for a starting role, waiting for an injury camp and somebody had signed him for a few extra $1 million or something. Pure speculation. But whatever the case is, he's now in Detroit. He's going to be Jared Goff's backup. We fully expect him to beat out Nate Sudfeld for QB2. We've already been told that Hendon Hooker's going to redshirt this entire season probably. So this move just makes sense. And I'm telling you, I can't undersell this move enough, Russ. I think, honestly, this might be the last piece the Lions need to be a real Super Bowl contender. Because if you start to look at glaring holes in a team, where's the holes in this team? I mean, 3 days ago, we said, well, the hole is at backup quarterback. If Jared Goff goes down, we're in big trouble. Not now. Now that hole has been addressed. Teddy Bridgewater, arguably the best backup quarterback in the league. He has familiarity with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn when he played in New Orleans, which he was 5-0, by the way, as a starter in New Orleans. So absolutely, this is a huge signing. Never before can I remember a backup QB being so important for a team as the 2023 Lions and Teddy Bridgewater. I just love this signing.
I love that take.
You like that?
I got to give that a 5-banger right there because you did call this one. You called this way before anybody else had called this. I had to go back a couple of weeks to where you really were pushing hard to get Teddy Bridgewater in here, and that's what we have now. And this can't be undersold, guys. Like, we've never been in a position. We always have 95 million holes on this Detroit Lions roster that need to be filled in other ways. So you're not really thinking about backup quarterback, but what happens if Jared Goff goes down? And you touched on that already. So I want to hit the other side of this, which is the part where Teddy Bridgewater plays a lot like Hendon Hooker, the style. He's an athletic QB. He can really show Hendon Hooker how to be a pro. Not that he needs the help already. I mean, Hendon Hooker has came in and crushed it from a leadership standpoint, but Teddy Bridgewater can take a lot of pressure off of Jared Goff to be that guy, because he can take Hendon Hooker over to the side and they can work with the 2s and the 3s and really make that, and let Goff really concentrate on running this number one offense. And one of the other things I was thinking about is Hendon Hooker's coming off an ACL injury, and Teddy Bridgewater suffered a gruesome injury coming out of the Minnesota Vikings. So not only can he mentor him from the QB and how to be a pro standpoint, but also how to come back from an injury and maybe even play better than he did before. Well, let me know what you think in the comments, because it really doesn't matter what a bunch of talking heads think. What do you think about the Teddy Bridgewater signing? Was it a good signing? Is it a waste? What do you think?
Well, hey, Russ, I'm so glad you touched on that knee injury because that was going to be my next point. And, from the beginning, what we said was, what does Nate Sudfeld have to offer to teach Hendon Hooker? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not only can Teddy Bridgewater teach him the ins and outs, how to play in this league, but little pieces of advice, little things that only a veteran can tell you, little things like keys. Watch how the nose tackle holds his hand in the ground. Just any of these little things that can be so valuable to a young quarterback. And coming off of a devastating knee injury the way that Teddy Bridgewater did, the mental aspects of that part of the game as well can be invaluable to a young quarterback. So I'm really glad you touched on that. A lot of people have been on the internet talking, saying the same things that we said weeks ago. So, I mean, this is huge for the Lions. It just keeps getting better.
It does. Woody agrees. Woody's in the comments and says, Teddy, that's a good pickup. Bear Down Mike says, good morning, guys. One funky Lions fan says, I hear it's better than Big D Energy on Woodward Sports. Hey, I appreciate that. I mean, the Woodward Sports, they got a lot of good superstars on there. We're just a couple knuckleheads with a podcast here. And, you know, we are fans, and I appreciate you being here and listening to us and making us at least one of your listens every day. We don't expect us to be the only one, but I appreciate that.
Last piece on Teddy Bridgewater for me. We have said before that looking at this way the Lions schedule shakes out, if they can do well in the first half of the season, the easiest part of the schedule for the Lions is the back half of the season. And we've even suggested that perhaps week 16 and week 18 against Minnesota, Jared Goff might be sitting because we've got the division wrapped up. Man, maybe we're pie in the sky and dreamers, but that is a possibility. And if so, how sweet would that be, Russ, that we bring in Teddy Bridgewater in week 16 and he smokes his old team, the Vikings? That would just be phenomenal. At least week 18 anyway. Teddy Bridgewater gets in, gets some reps, and puts a W and puts a stamp on the season in week 18 against the Vikings. That would just be so sweet for the Lions and for Teddy.
I love that call.
You like
What do you
that?
think of that, Viking fans? Having Teddy Bridgewater come in and seal the division. It would already be sealed up, but to come in and put a whooping on them Vikings on a game that don't matter as the Lions are winning the division and getting a home playoff game. There you go.
Teddy's played for a lot of teams. But I can imagine if I put myself in that position, I'm a number one draft pick. I come out of college. I have a devastating knee injury in my third year, and they just waive me. They let me go. I would carry a chip on my shoulder for that. And when you come to a team that's on the rise like the Lions and you get a chance twice at the end of the season to go against that team that gave up on you, he's going to be playing for a lot if that does come to fruition.
I love the pickup. And this does signify this is a red shirt year for Hendon Hooker, and this completely solidifies that in my opinion. And I got to find this. Who will play more in preseason? Woody asks Teddy or Hooker. It'll be Teddy. Teddy's going to play all of the preseason, maybe even Nate Sudfeld or whatever. But I think it's going to be Teddy now, and you won't see Hooker at all. I mean, Hooker isn't even going to be cleared to play possibly by week 1. So you're not going to see not one snap from Hendon Hooker. And I think that this signing solidifies that, not just for the preseason, but for the entire 2023 season as well.
And it sets up the Lions for next year as they start to go into contract negotiations with Jared Goff. It gives them a little extra leverage knowing that Hendon Hooker's waiting in the wings, especially with a guy like Teddy Bridgewater to back him up. So this is going to be very interesting to see what Brad Holmes does. So far, he hasn't disappointed. This is just one more card he's had up his sleeve to sign a veteran backup QB at the beginning of the preseason. I love it.
Yeah, right on. Uriel Jackson says, bye-bye, Nate Sudfeld. Thank you for the comment, Uriel. Bear Down Mike says, good signings, a serviceable backup, a QB, and there's only a handful of them. You and I were talking about this last night. I mean, is he the best backup in the league? Did you think of anybody else that could
No,
be there?
You were adamant. You were convinced he is the best backup in the league. I think I would take Case Keenum over Teddy Bridgewater just based on what they've done as a starter. I also really love Colt McCoy in Arizona. Outside of those two guys, though, I think Teddy Bridgewater comes right in third.
Sure. I mean, and that's arguable too. I mean, that's fine. I mean, you can put those guys ahead of them. I haven't any problem with that, but I do have Teddy above both of those guys, and no slight on any of those guys, but I like the mobility. I like the fact that he can escape the pocket. And he's still got good arm, and he's been decent. You know, you're not expecting. I saw somebody throw up some stats of Teddy Bridgewater. It's like, well, look at these numbers. They're awful numbers. They're not awful numbers. He's never really thrown more interceptions than touchdowns ever. And, you know, he's had a couple of turnover in his career and everything, but he's been a pretty good backup everywhere he's been. I mean, different teams, you know, learning different offenses, learning how to be a pro. So I love the signing.
Right. And a lot of the things the Lions do are the same things that Teddy did in New Orleans on offense. Ben Johnson learned this offense coming up through the ranks with Dan Campbell. So I don't think the learning curve is going to be as big as some people are making it out to be. But I could be wrong there.
Michael says that I can't pronounce his last name. He says, since the Lions have lots of backups, who is the backup punter for Jack Fox? Do we have depth at that position? Your input. Thanks. I don't even know if that's like if that's meant to be kind of a joke or if that's a real question. But no, you don't usually carry a backup punter. I mean, really, if Jack Fox goes down, then you're going to go to free agency and find a punter that can boot the ball.
Right. And what a lot of teams do is if your punter gets hurt during the game, there's one guy that's designated on the team that during practice, they have him take some punts and they see who can punt it the furthest. And it might be a defensive back or it might be a running back. And that's the guy who's designated as the backup punter because you only get a 53-man roster and every one of those spots is crucial. You don't want to waste one of those on a backup punter.
Right. Uriel Jackson says that he says, I think that they will cut Nate Sudfeld. I only brought this one back up because not Brad Holmes, but Dan Campbell had said that even if Bridgewater comes in, there's going to be a Nate Sudfeld versus Bridgewater competition. Are you buying any of that?
I am buying that 100%. And the reason I'm buying that is because Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes love Nate Sudfeld. They do. They let go of Tim Boyle and David Blau and brought this guy in with no practice, no training camp to be the second string quarterback last year. That should tell you all you need to know. They have enough confidence in Nate Sudfeld to put him on the sideline as the second string quarterback and need to put him in if needed. And Teddy Bridgewater and him are going to compete for the second starting job. There's no doubt about that. And I think this spells the end of Adrian Martinez for the Lions. And if Hendon Hooker supposedly is cleared to play by September 1st, we might see Hendon Hooker on the practice squad as the third quarterback. And now with the new 3-quarterback rule that the NFL has instituted on the Lions' behest, it is very possible that Hendon Hooker could see some playing time this year if there are injuries to the first and second stringers.
Yeah. Well, you definitely don't want to see that happening, but yeah, that's crazy to know that even if, you know, you don't want to see our third quarterback. Yeah. So, let's see. Sarah's in here. What's going on, Sarah? We love that you're on here. Howdy, folks. Calvin says that we have a great GM. Hope he stays here for a long time, as do we. Sebastian Cole says that Woodward Sports is feeding the Lions faithful a bunch of crap about being Super Bowl bound. I mean, you can call it crap, you can call it whatever, but there's nothing that the Vikings are going to do to stop it. I mean, the Super Bowl bound, we're a hell of a lot more Super Bowl bound than the Vikings are. All right. So John Dorn says Lions win the division. Not happening. All right. What happens when it does? Oh, wow. I love trolling you guys. If the Lions beat the Vikings.
I'm in such a good mood today. Good morning, John Dorn.
Good morning, John Dorn. Yes. Sebastian comes back. If the Lions beat the Vikings at the end of the season, it will be Goff, not Bridgewater. We'll see about that. I think the Lions are going to have about a 3-game lead by the end of the end of the year. Y'all think it's a tight race, but it ain't going to be a tight race. It's going to be a tight race for second place. And I'm going out there. I'm putting my butt right out there for that. I'll eat it. I'll eat the crow. If we start out 0-5 again or 1-6, I'll eat the crow, but I'm not going to eat it yet. I'm drinking the blue Kool-Aid, and I don't know what it's laced with, but it feels pretty good right now. Calvin says
it tastes like the future.
It tastes just like the future. Oh God, John Dorn sighting, says Calvin. Hey, we gotta love our enemies, right? They've been clowning us for years, and maybe they'll get to continue to do it. But right now, it feels pretty good. Detroit fan man, did Bridgewater and the Martinez experiment? That feels quick. Maybe Adrian can help our USFL Michigan Panthers.
Ooh, I like that call.
You like that?
Word on the street
even though Adrian Martinez threw as many interceptions in college as he did touchdowns, I'm not sold on this guy at all.
Oh, well, apparently, word on the street is in training camp, he's continuing his interception trend, and he hasn't been good in training camp either, which might be the reason that they've been sandbagging this move right here. Thought that they give him. Bear Down Mike says Gardner Minshew is the best backup. That's not a bad call. I don't mind lopping him in there, but I don't.
Look, but it remains to be seen if he's even a backup. If he starts day one, then that's not true.
That's true. That is true. That is not true. Bear Down Mike. But Gardner, I don't mind that call though. We like the mustache. We love a good mustache here.
Yeah, outside of Teddy Bridgewater, he's the other guy I would have liked to see in the Lions back up.
Let's see.
He's so good. To bear down, like push Jared Goff, because I think Gardner Minshew is a good player.
Oh, wow. This is the home of the bad takes, and this one you're going to love is a bad take by John Dorn. Hooker pick. The Hooker pick looks bad now because the Lions picked up Bridgewater. Could have used that pick on another player that would have helped you this year.
No, instead we use that pick on a quarterback that's going to beat the Packers for the next 10 years.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with that, John. The Hooker pickup looks like it's very smart now that they've picked up a backup because they're not expecting him to go out there and play year one. You can actually go stash him right on, put him on the shelf and let him heal from his injury. And Teddy, who is a better mentor for Hendon Hooker than Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, Goff doesn't have time to go over there and mentor him this year. We're going to be too busy winning the division with our starters. This is a great leadership move. If the Lions organization believes that they are contending this year, which they do, I think that this move definitely signifies that they want to win this year. And there's never been anything like that around this area.
Hey, we're going to jump off early today after having me on the show. Give them hell today, my friend.
We'll do our best, Mike. It's great to have you on. You want to plug the Monday night real quick?
Yeah, I'll plug it. You ready?
I'm ready.
It is the NFC North Open mic every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Bring your thick skin and leave your feelings at the door because we are talking trash with all four NFC North fans. That's the NFC North Open mic, 7 p.m. Eastern time every Monday. And don't forget, August 17th, it's the relaunch of the Main Event podcast show, broadcasting live into Facebook. And you can pick it up on anywhere where you get your podcast. It's the Main Event podcast show, August 17th, broadcasting live into Facebook. One Pride. God bless you all.
All right. That was Main Event Mike. That was Main Event Mike. He's the host of our Monday night show, and we have fun on there. We had some fun on there last night, and it's been good. But I really do believe in this Teddy Bridgewater pickup. I do think that it signifies that the organization, no matter what the trolling is out there, we understand that you don't think the Lions haven't won anything since 1991. They've never won the NFC North ever. They have never won the NFC North. So all of this stuff that's coming out of my mouth sounds like nonsense to the other three fan bases. And that's okay, because that's what we do here. It is the home of the bad takes. Every time I open up my mouth about something Lions, three of the fan bases think I'm full of crap, especially anything positive. So, let's see. I got to get back in here to these comments right here. I'm going to be able to get people in to the show early. Wow. Gosh, I get to go to the people, and I'm sure that you guys want to light me up right here. But I do wanted to talk about some of the other stuff that's on here. So when the other fan bases come on, we do have something else that we can talk about. But I'm going to throw the link into the comments, and I invite you to come and join me on the show. And let's look at some of these comments in here. And Sebastian says the Lions will beat if the Lions beat the Vikings at the end of the season, it'll be with Goff. And you know what? Maybe I'm a little too cocky to think that we'd have the division locked up, but our team is good, man. It's not just good, it's deep. The depth. You don't have depth. You don't have depth like the Lions have depth here. Let's see. It must be the stash. Yes, it has to be the mustache. You know, when you have a good mustache, I think it does make your QB rating go up by a few points right there. Oh, I like this call. Look at this. I got to give you a 5 on this one because this is good. Randall Cunningham it was the backup punter. You like that. I love that call right there. And oh, wow. Look who we have in the back room right here. It is it's Woody from the Hallis All Report is in here. And you just made that comment.
You like that, didn't you?
I did. They got a 5 banger on there. And he did. Doesn't he have like the longest in NFL history still?
It's like an 89, 91-yard punt. I think it was against the Giants.
That's crazy. That's a great call right there. I love that.
See, I try, but Teddy Bridgewater was a good pickup. I wanted him as a starter a couple years ago when we were going through our quarterback mess. But yeah, that was a good pickup. I mean, people say I seen, Gardner Minshew mentioned, people can say Brissett,
right.
Somebody can say Andy Dalton, but a good young mobile quarterback, you guys did a good job getting that backup.
Well, here's what I looked at, what I really liked about it. So when you look back through his stats, his best year as a backup or a pros when Drew Brees went down and he went like 8-2 or 7-2 down the stretch. And guess whose team that was? That was the team that Dan Campbell was on with Aaron Glenn. So they know what Teddy can do. They've had him in there before. The offenses are very similar too. Mm-hmm. You got Gibbs, who's a lot like Kamara was. You got Montgomery, who's a lot like what was that Mark Ingram. So they have that little thunder and lightning thing going, and Bridgewater's a lot like Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and they almost look alike too. They have these like boyish old man faces where they kind of look like their face looks like they're 17, but they're like 26, 27.
What would the Vikings fans think when Detroit has this division and they play Teddy at the end of the year and beat them?
I loved that call. That was hey, I got some hate on that call from Sebastian in there. He's but the thing is, if you're a Vikings fan, you have the best player. You have the best player in the divisions on your team. Justin Jefferson was the number 2 out of the top 100. And the thing is like you can make whatever you want out about lists, but when the players tell you that you're the number 2 player, that sounds more like it than a bunch of talking heads like us trying to tell people who's good and who's not. These guys are.
That's why I was surprised Justin Fields was at 86. Now, would he be up there if he didn't have 1,000 yards? Absolutely not. Rushing.
Yeah, but you have to take it into consideration. That's the thing is Justin Fields is always going to keep you into a game because he can make the big plays. You go into those soft defenses or whatever when you're playing from behind. Justin Fields is going to take advantage of all of that stuff. And why shouldn't he?
Right.
So I don't mind that at all. If the players see it like that, that actually is one of the reasons I'm more scared of Justin Fields than Jordan Love. It's like the players say that he's hard to play against. the defenses that he actually plays against, not us talking heads like, oh, the Justin Fields is never gonna like we're just.
I wish I had that button, the like button, because that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Justin Fields. He is a scary dude.
Just imagine if he gets his passing stats up, then he'd be a scary character all around. You know, like Lamar Jackson. Like I said, he started throwing his second and third year, and look at him. He was a beast throwing the ball. So I'm interested in seeing his make it or break it year this year. See what he does.
Oh my gosh. Let's see what we got here. Sarah says, at least you're not snorting cheese like Packer fans.
You like that?
Oh, wow. We do. Charles, what's up, Charles? Teddy is a great pickup. Justin says that after we lose to KC, the hype will be over. 0-1 to start. Game 2 will define the season. See, gosh, man. I don't want to call it a loss. I'm not going to call it a loss yet. I mean, you look at that KC team. Look at what they've lost in this offseason. This is not the Super Bowl team.
And Jones is holding out because of his contract, the defensive lineman. So if he doesn't play week 1, you never know.
It could be bad. Who's the backup for Green Bay? Just wondering. That would be Sean Clifford right now.
And no Penn State.
No Penn State. But Bear Down Mike says Bears signed another tight end and released Chase Allen. All right. Bears signed another tight end no one knows about and released another guy that nobody knows.
And he's a better catcher than a blocker. So we'll see.
Oh man, I'm glad that we actually have news enough for me to be able to say stuff like I just did. Yeah, Bridgewater's better than Justin.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I don't
John,
know if
John, oh man, you know what? Next Monday night, I just want to go one-on-one with John, just to calm him down a little bit, because some of his comments are just. Wow. You got is Bridgewater better than Fields? Of course. He's been in the league more. He's been playing more games. He, like you said, you take, the Saints and, taking Drew Brees teams over, and they were still winning. Of course he's better than him. But holy shit.
Hey, John, here, I mean, while you're in there, I mean, you can pop on if you want, but if you don't, then answer me this. Do you think that, Justin Fields, Bridgewater, do you think that Bridgewater has a better arm than Justin Fields? If you had a chance to have Bridgewater on your team, would you have him on there to back up Justin Fields? No, wait, that wasn't my question. Do you think that Bridgewater will compete with Jared Goff for the starting position?
No, this is Goff's team.
Well, now I want to ask John that, because if he thinks that Bridgewater is better than Justin Fields, is Justin Fields? You may think that Justin Fields is better than Jared Goff too, right? Is he better than Jared Goff too, John Dorn? They beat us at the end of the year. They can beat us at the end of the year with Teddy. It won't matter because we don't need that win. That is crazy. But
Sarah, does that mean you guys are resting players because you're going to be in the playoffs, or is your season over by then?
I'm thinking that their season's going to be over, but she thinks that they're going to have the division locked up. The two division titles in a row. Hey, we have the shit to prove. The Lions or the Bears, that it is the Vikings division. You have to say that it's their division. They won it, even though half of the team that they won the division with isn't their team anymore, but they do have the title. Adam says Lions Nation. Football Candy says the problem with these lists is they're flawed with the players ranked from 1 to 20, because That's scaled 1 to 100-point scale, and they are done throughout the year.
But it's still voted. It's still voted by the players, though.
Yeah, the players say that. I mean, what are you going to argue with the problem on the list? I mean, are you going to rank him at, I don't know, with your list, is he 10? I mean, it's still, the thing is Justin Jefferson is still the best player in this division. Yeah. And he's proven it, year in and year out. Now, do I think that his production could take a hit without a running game and without the same type of playmakers? Well, sure. I do expect him to regress this year, or else he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, maybe even the greatest of all time if he keeps going down the path that he's going. So I disagree with that one. Football candy. I don't care. I mean, a list is a list. It's all opinion anyway. Adam says, I don't think that we lose this first game. And I think that he's talking about Lions versus KC. I mean, at the beginning of the summer, if you were to say that the Lions were going to beat Kansas City in week 1 in Arrowhead, most of them were called crazy, but I don't think it's that far of a stretch to think that the Lions are going to be competitive in this game. Like, if I were you and you wanted to bet, and I'll give you, this is a free tip, go and bet the under on that, because the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to cover that 7 points. So if you want some easy money, go ahead and bet that bet, because especially you win that bet if the Lions win straight out too. So you might as well go take the 7 points they're giving to you, because they're going to cover that. But the fact is that the defenders are terrified of Fields is definitely true. So this
with his legs.
So the people that I don't know what fan base they are, sometimes they tell on themselves right there, because the only people that are really defending Fields are Bear fans. I'll tell you that I'm scared of him, but I'm also not scared of him because he hasn't proven that he can do it in the NFL. I mean, they get pressure on him. Good defenses frustrate him. He does not look good when he gets pressured in the right way. I mean, he did decent in the first game against the Lions, but the second game against the Lions, he didn't do shit. He got owned by Justin Houston, got sacked 5 times in the game, and had no answer for the Lions defense the second time around. So, but you got new players. You got new players. You got reasons to be excited there, but you should be scared if he can throw the ball. But if he can't prove that he can throw the ball, I ain't scared of Justin Fields. The Bear guy don't know football. Oh gosh, I love it.
Who's he talking about?
I don't know. Probably a Bear fan guy. That might be you. That might be somebody from the comments.
Come on, I'll eat you up. Come on.
But Woody comes on here every day. He's what I would call the realistic Bear fan. He's going to tell you how it is, and he's excited about his team, but he's also
worried.
Realistic. He's, you have learning to do. I remember I was optimistic of the Lions last year. I thought that they could be good. I called it house money, and I look at your situation a lot like that with the Bears. It's house money. Like, there's nobody that hired Ryan Poles like 2 years ago thought he was going to come in the second year, compete for a Super Bowl and everything like that. You say, hey, this is a 2-year. Let's build this thing from the studs, rip it apart. We'll be competing in year 3. If you're competing in year 2, then good. All right. You're ahead of schedule. You want to put that stamp on there, but be sure and know that Ryan Poles is putting some guys there. I think that he's the second best GM in the division.
Let me guess who the first is.
I mean, but the track records are there. Like, I couldn't even, when I was going through the Brad Holmes stuff, you look through and you're like, who does that? Who hits on every pick to where they're making contributions to your team? Nobody does it. I can't find anybody that's done what he has done. But the cupboard was bare. Like, I mean, the squirrel could find a nut. You can hit a couple guys when you have nobody. Well, we got We got 11 and 11, and then backup guys. It's like, blind squirrel can find a nut. So we'll find out how good these guys are this year with this draft class. If he stacks 3 in a row, then it's going to spell doom. It's going to spell doom. We are going to stomp the yard with the league. Sorry, NFC and AFC Lions are going crazy. The blue Kool-Aid is flowing like wine. Bridgewater has a better arm than Noodle Arm Goff, but not better.
Wow. There's your answer.
Oh my God. I love John's arguments because they're not rooted in reality at all. It's just total, here's what I'm going to say. It's coming out of my mouth. I don't have anything to back that up. Like Goff is a career, like 70% completion guy. Like we rest in players, Sarah says. You guys going to have the division all wrapped up by week 18? Let's go.
Hey, you never know.
All right. Football guy, you should come in here. I'm going to throw the link in again, just in case there's somebody else that wants to have these conversations. I'm not a very good reader. That's why I say this. I like having conversations with people. Now that I have you in here, before I get this thing going, and I'm going to leave off right there. Hey, there's Will. It's the Jeremy Ballreich Padawan is in the house.
Yes, sir.
You just couldn't wait to get a comment in here on Teddy Bridgewater, right? Yeah. What do you think of that?
You know what? He won't see the field, but you know what? He may have an impact on maybe helping a little bit of Hendon Hooker for learning, but who knows? I think, you know what? It's a good backup. It's a good backup. That's what he is. He's not going to start, but he's a backup for sure.
You know what I like about that, what you'd said right there? I don't think he's going to help out Hendon a little bit. I mean, think about like when you're out on if you look at the practice fields, they got, 3 different, you got the ones playing over here, the 2s and the 3s. And it has Jared Goff is there. And he's trying to, mentor, but he's also trying to, get all the first team offense together. What Teddy Bridgewater does is takes that whole narrative over here because he has starter experience. And then he gets to go over there one-on-one, spend entire practices with the 2s and the 3s working and getting those guys ready while Hendon Hooker gets one-on-one with a starting level quarterback that doesn't interrupt anything that Jared Goff is doing with the number 1 offense.
Exactly. No, what I meant to say was, sorry, I'm so, he will definitely teach him quite a bit. Like, he was a starter at one point. He won't be like, hey, Goff. No, Goff's busy playing with the 1s. Talk to Bridgewater.
Right. And Bridgewater will be over there on the other field with the 2s and the 3s, not only getting the offenses ready, but the defenses will be ready as we welcome A-Dub to the show.
Say hello to my little friend.
And one of my favorite Packer fans. And one of the things I put on today, now I have you on here, and I didn't know which one to get to first, but Green Bay had a little rumor out there about Bakhtiari going to the Jets. I mean, is there any wind behind the sail, or is this just dumb?
As you say, it's just a rumor. I mean, it's not out the realm of possibility given how one would think maybe Bakhtiari wants to play with Rodgers one more year before he retires, but it's all a rumor. Like I'm not seeing nothing from Green Bay that says Bakhtiari even wants to be traded. But it could be a situation. It could be a situation where we might have to trade him, considering the contract with him.
Would you miss him though? Would you miss him though? Really, with his injuries and stuff like that, would Green Bay really miss him as an offensive lineman?
I was about to say that guy's been injury prone his whole career.
Go ahead, A-Dub.
And here's the thing. I'm one of those few Packer fans who was more than ready for us to move on from Bakhtiari. Right, like if he couldn't keep himself healthy and stood up for a certain time for our season, like sure he's a quality blocker out there when he is healthy, but that's the thing. I always say the best ability for any football player is availability. So if
Yes.
you're not available,
Yes.
if you're not available at a time when we need you to be, then from a business standpoint, we have to cut our ties eventually.
You know what? Oh, go ahead.
What do you think he would be worth? Like, what do you think that Green Bay would be asking for someone to take that contract? And the fact that he does make them better, right? And one of the things that was in this article from Wisconsin Sports Heroics is where I read this. He had said that they would actually have to throw more compensation in, like an extra third-round pick, because it would make the Jets better, which would make the draft pick worse, where they would have to compensate because Bakhtiari makes them better, that type of thing. But what do you think they would get from him? And then I'll let Will go.
I'd say at least, yeah. I'm thinking somewhere from a second round pick to a third or something, like a few draft picks would be in place for us to get it, for anybody to have him. Like if he makes the Jets that better, that means for us it's just more draft capital that's coming in. Right on. How about you, Will? What do you think?
I think he's worth a third, a fourth, and a sixth.
A 3, 4, and a 6?
Maybe a 3 and a 4. Yeah. The guy was good when he was healthy, and A-Dub says what I've been preaching for years. The best availability is availability, and he is 100% right. I've been saying that for years for football and other sports.
So what they're saying, they believe in Wisconsin Sports Heroics, from what I'm reading here, that he's worth a couple premium picks. Like we're talking like a first round pick.
Wow.
And I don't know what premium would be. Maybe it's a second round pick. So maybe a 2 and a 3 is what they're saying, because they say an extra third just for the loss of whatever. But that would make that's a gigantic hole with Green Bay. It would also signify that you're kind of throwing the season in at that point if they were ever to do that. So I don't think they're going to do it. I'm not going to throw any more stock.
I don't think they will either.
One of the things I wanted to bring up to Woody, and this is something that Lion fans could do, and so could Bear fan and Viking fans, is I saw this thing with Yannick being compared to Julius Peppers.
Oh, hell no.
And I'm so glad to see you say, "Oh hell no." Go ahead and give me your take on that before I destroy it.
What Julius Peppers, when he retired, I know he played for a lot of teams, but he finished up with 160 sacks and 11 interceptions. He was like a terror all over the field, and especially offensive linemen were terrified of him. That, I believe, is not even a comparison. I would take Julius Peppers all week and 2 times on Sunday.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Will.
Sorry to interrupt. My bad. First off, I want to apologize for interrupting. I got to see Julius Peppers firsthand as also being a Panthers fan. I 100% agree. The guy's third time all-time in sacks. And you're saying, oh, Yannick Ngakoue is the next Julius Peppers. Yeah, call me when Yannick Ngakoue is climbing up the sack leaderboard of all time, because Julius Peppers did it in Carolina, he did it in Green Bay, and he did it in Chicago. And guess what? And Carolina again. He never slowed down, really. Like, not saying Ngakoue slowed down. It's just Julius Peppers, whenever teams would scout against those teams he played for, not saying Ngakoue's bad, they would say, okay, who do we have to game plan against? The answer in my eyes was always Julius Peppers. And I got to see Julius Peppers play firsthand. And that guy, I agree with Woody. was a
Yeah,
terror
you-
in the backfield.
You tell me another lineman that has 11 interceptions.
Yeah,
Right.
and 11
11.
interceptions for a big boy lineman. And that guy played basketball as well, ironically enough.
And I'm looking at the profiles here, and I looked it up because I wanted to see and this comes from let me get this thing up here. It's from the Chicago Tribune is where the comparison thing came from. And so I brought it up on PFF because I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? Is it the run defense thing or whatever? These guys are nothing alike. Like Chicago Tribune should be ashamed of themselves for even trying to make this comparison. Julius Peppers is 6'7", 295 pounds, and Yannick is 6'2", 246 pounds, and he may have gained some weight. I don't know. He may be more than that now, but this is where he was drafted. Now, Julius Peppers, his lowest run defense grade in his career, if you take out the one where he was injured, was like 52.6, which is average. Yannick is a liability in the run game. We're talking where he started out better and he's progressively got worse through his entire career, starting at 61.9 and moving all the way down to last year, where I'm not going to count this last year because he was injured, but that was 28.2. But the last time he played a full year, 43.7 grade against the run. That means every time I'm running the ball at you, you've never proven that you can stop the run in your career, which is the reason why you lasted so long in free agency.
So Julius Peppers' worst year was better than Yannick's best year.
Yeah, and you know what else
close.
is crazy?
It's close, but it's not even.
The thing is, whenever Julius Peppers played, he was always in the backfield, and you always heard Julius Peppers with the sack, Julius Peppers with the tackle. You don't always hear Yannick Ngakoue with the tackle, Yannick Ngakoue with the sack. No, Julius Peppers was a household name who's going to be in Canton one day.
Yep.
And Yannick Ngakoue wishes he could be in Canton.
Yannick won't be in Canton, and Julius
He's not
Peppers,
even allowed in the whole city of Canton, prone.
Well,
Sorry
when I
for
think
interrupting,
about
Russell.
sorry. Well, I was gonna say when I think about hearing those stats and numbers you bring up with Yankin, it always reminds me so much of what Zadarius Smith was to us in Green Bay. He can get you the sacks, but he's a liability against the run. That's the reason why I kept saying he reminds me of Zadarius Smith so much, because that was my problem with Z when he was with us.
And that's a better comparison.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying. We can always count on Zadarius Smith to get sacks for us. Like, he was always good for the pass rush, but when it comes to run defense, that's where he's a liability.
Yeah.
All right, so Bear Down Mike coming in here saying Justin Fields with 3,600 passing yards, 700 running yards, 36 total TDs, 8 interceptions. I'm calling it now. That is that's not even that's not all that far out.
I agree on that. I think he's going to have a little bit more rushing yards, and I think he's going to have more interceptions than 8.
I think he's going to have double. He'll definitely have double-digit picks.
But here's the thing to really look at. What I like about this prediction is it's realistic to him just having a stellar year. Like, if he's going to turn it around, what would the stat line look like? And
that would be the fifth-year option right there if he throws that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
And, you're not going out of this world in the passing yards. It's 1,000 more than he had last year. And with DJ Moore on your team, that's okay to say that. Having less running yards means you might actually be winning games.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly.
Or your offensive line is gelling and giving you more time instead of 2.7 seconds. That should be up to 4 if that offensive line gels.
And if you scored 10 to 15 rushing touchdowns, you're only saying, that you're going to throw 20 touchdown passes. So it's that
stat line also says to me he's more consistent with not turning the ball over so much.
Yeah.
Right. Because he doesn't have to be a great passer. I've been on here many times and said that he doesn't have to be a good passer to be a great quarterback. With that rushing ability, that's second to none. I mean, that's like Michael Vick shit that he's doing. So all he has to do is be below average to be a.
I wouldn't compare him to Mike Vick yet. Mike Vick can throw.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like his rushing can be compared to Mike Vick because Mike Vick didn't want to run for 1,000 yards either.
No.
So, but I like that. That's a good call. I'm gonna give you 2 on that, just because I don't believe it's gonna happen. Top 10 defense. I don't know who's gonna have a top 10 defense. I invited people right there. I did invite people to this broadcast.
I'm so
if
happy
you want to hop
I
on
was
here.
able to join. I've been meaning to talk to you lately, Russell.
Mark Orem says that Hooker's not playing. I agree with Mark 100%. Yeah, Will, you're getting called a bandwagon fan. You're a Carolina fan on here. Oh no! Ask yourself this question.
John Doran, talk to me when your team is relevant.
Well, they've been more relevant than we have. Mark Orem, ask yourself this question: Sudfield or Bridgewater? It's that easy.
Bridgewater, of course.
Sudfield 0 starts, Bridgewater 65 starts.
Yeah, and it makes me think, how much longer is Bridgewater going to try and hang on to playing in the NFL? I can only see like 3 to 4 more years. Ever since that horrific injury, he was never, ever the same.
Yeah, you saying Bach isn't going anywhere this year. I can agree.
A-Dub is the coolest pack dude. Most of them are potty mouths. Do they kiss their mama with those
A-Dub is
mouths?
a cool Packers fan. I like A-Dub.
He's like
he don't smile. He don't smile at all. It hurts my feelings.
even when he's smiling, he doesn't smile. Oh, John Dorn says he's worth a first. He's one of the best. I mean, and that's it. Like we were talking earlier, and you say the third, fourth, and the sixth. This isn't a linebacker. This is a left tackle.
There's no way he's first round. No way.
It's the most important position on the field, minus the quarterback, is protecting the quarterback.
I agree.
Yeah, that blind side blocker. Yeah, like I said he could be worth a few draft picks. I wouldn't go so high as the first, though.
No, his injury history says he's not a first round worth.
All right, Sarah says, hell no, he ain't worth that many picks. Dude is hardly played. And then see what I mean? Whackers fans snorting too much cheese. Sarah's got some good smack talk. You guys got to admit that.
And I say that every show. We got to get her on here, man. Just keep sharing that link to her.
Oh, my gosh, right there. Let me see if we got anything else in here. Yannick played with the Colts last year. Didn't they give up 33 points? No, he was injured last year, though, in that one. Don't insult Peppers like that. Yeah, we're not trying to insult Peppers.
No.
It was the Chicago Tribune who came out with the dumb article of that. I mean, you can put out whack articles. That's what I do when I get up in the morning and I decide, because I never know. We just come on to this show and we start talking football. So I look through all 4 teams and bring up their top news, and then I pick something that I like. And right now we're in preseason. There's no preseason games really to talk about. We're going to have some like joint practice stuff this week, which will actually be pretty cool. And we'll be talking about that over the next couple days, how those things are going. But right now there's not that much to go at, and that was a rumor. Green Bay actually has not a lot to talk about, which is a good thing because you're just having good. You sold out your family night. That was pretty cool, right? I'm one of the people that I kind of listen to everybody making fun of it. No, yeah, they're all getting hyped up because they sold out their family night. Stupid Packer fans.
Hey, didn't Detroit sell out their season tickets for the first time ever?
They did.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they technically did when they built Ford Field in 2002, but I think they were so bad that a lot of people reneged on that, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of tickets became available.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that doesn't happen again. This is a much more solid team than even
way more solid.
So, but I don't think that's a bad thing, A-Dub, that you guys sold out your family night. I mean, it's like making fun of your fan base for being really loyal to the team. Like, oh man, stupid guys liking your team. It's like, yeah, that's
it's called loyalty.
You like that, huh?
I like that.
So I'm not going to make fun of you for selling out your family night. You had a whole bunch of people. I mean, what else is there to do in Green Bay? I mean,
yeah, that's
as Sarah said, snorting cheese.
Yeah, the Gouda cheese.
Gouda cheese.
Woody the Bear fan hit it right on the head with Peppers. Yep.
Oh, yeah, I did. We both agree. Woody knows this stuff.
A little bit.
Just a little.
John Dorn doesn't agree. I'm trying to find somebody with a question in here. I'm reading.
John Dorn's probably like, this Will guy's so weird.
Okay. So here we go. Calvin asks a question. Says, what do you think about the Detroit and the Giants game coming up? And I'll let Will go after that one first, because if I don't, he's gonna give his answer anyway. So I'll let you go first.
I appreciate that, Russell. Russell. That's why I love you, man. You're awesome. You've treated me with nothing but respect, and I really do appreciate that. By the power of Raw. Detroit's a better team. I think Detroit's gonna handle New York. Not saying New York's bad. It's just Detroit's obviously the better team. So I've got Detroit by double digits.
Oh wow. Okay. What? How about you, AW? But are you putting stock Detroit versus the Giants? Right. I mean, does that move the needle for you or anything? You don't care. Who's your? Actually, I should forget that. You don't care about that. How about who do you have in your preseason game this week?
Oh, we're playing Cincinnati this Friday.
Okay, so who are you looking forward to seeing from the Green Bay Packers in that game, as far as your depth guys? Maybe somebody's not thinking about.
Well, as far as I had named a few people before, like on our defense, guys like Carl Brooks or Kobe Wooden, those late round draft picks we picked up for our defense. I'm looking to see how well those guys do in terms of the depth chart from there.
There you go. So, Packer fans, John Dorn, you're out there. It's a very serious question to you, too. You know, when you guys playing the Cincinnati Bengals this week, who are you looking forward to see? Packer fans, who are you looking forward to see in that game? Good names right there. I like Carl Brooks.
I like that, yeah.
So, and who do you guys got this week?
We play Tennessee at 1:00 on Saturday on the NFL Network.
Ooh. Expect to see Derrick Henry?
I said this yesterday. I'm looking forward to seeing Sewell and Stevenson, see how they play on defense. And I'm looking forward to seeing actually Roshan Johnson, see how he does, and see if P.J. Walker's a real backup for Justin Fields if Justin Fields goes down. So those are the four people I'd like to see.
All right. So we got – thank you, Sebastian, for putting this out there. The Vikings joint practice with the Browns. Is that it? The preseason game against Seattle on Thursday. So, I mean, you guys got a lot of young players on that Vikings team. So, feel free to throw a name in the comments that nobody knows about that we wouldn't know about the Vikings right now too. I'm looking forward to seeing Brian Branch. Brian Branch is probably my favorite Lion right now, as far as the people that had surprised when it came through. Because Brian Branch is one of those guys that I don't think anybody saw coming. Because, we bring in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We already have Tracy Walker, just drafted Kirby Joseph last year. With that room was feeling pretty good. And then they drafted Brian Branch, best player available. But that's my call right there. I can't wait to see what he can do. I want to see if Aaron Glenn can possibly keep this guy out of the starting lineup if he's actually balling more than everybody else.
I'm interested in seeing how, Teddy, because he has to learn that playbook in under a week.
Yeah.
See how he goes, and how much you think he's going to play? Quarter, 2 quarters, half?
I'm really.
I'm going to say this with that. Teddy has already been in a system like we were talking about earlier, where his best season was in New Orleans with when he was there with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn with that team, and their offenses are similar. Like this offense that we run with Ben Johnson is kind of like a hybrid version of what they were using in New Orleans. So I don't really think Bridgewater's learning curve is going to be all that much. I think that when they planned on signing him, when they brought him in a couple weeks ago, and Teddy's like, listen, I'm going to give you, I don't know what the contract details are, but I bet you Teddy's like, look, I'm going to give you a discount, but I ain't going through that training camp. How about that?
That? So he skipped his push-ups, right?
He skipped his push-ups because he's like, look, I'm going to back up the guy. I promise you I'll be ready if he goes down. But we'll see. He definitely has to earn that spot. Nothing is given here. Oh, good call right here. I love this right here. Calvin says, for the Detroit Lions, I hope to see Martin play. And that's another one of those guys. Nice. He was raw Martin comes through, and he was a 5th round grade. They said that he was going to be too raw, but he had like the physical, like he's a grown man. That's what Broderick Martin is. He had the longest arms in the NFL class, and he's going to be able to punch people. And apparently they really like this guy, and he worked his way up, and they said he's ahead of schedule, and he may be competing for a starting job where they thought he was going to be a depth piece the first year. So we like fast learning guys. There you go, Sarah. Sarah says Ivan Pace Jr., UDFA, now playing with the first team. There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice.
How much?
I'm sorry.
How much time do you think the Lions are going to let the rookies play? So go ahead. Why don't you answer that one?
I think you got to play him at least a quarter or two. The guy who I wanted to bring up, who I really want to see, is Sam Laporta, because you're coming from tight end University, Iowa, and then you got Campbell, you got Branch. I think you play him a quarter or two. I think the Lions probably had one of the best drafts, top 3. I personally think they had the best draft because how they got Branch was awesome. They fleeced the Packers. I loved the Hooker pick because you should never sleep on a guy's injury. Like I don't care if the guy tears ACL 1 year and then messes up his hamstring 1 year. Like, dude, the guy. And I've told Jeremy this, and we both agree. If Hooker never got hurt, he would have been a first-round talent. Campbell's a beast. He's been compared to a lot of great linebackers in the past. And then you got Laporta, and then you got Gibbs, who's a pass-catching back. And like you've said, Russell, and I agree 100%, he has that next-level speed. The guys in college who tried to tackle him were way behind him, and he already had that burst of speed where he was already past him, and they couldn't even touch him. So I think they're going to play a quarter or two. I'm definitely going to be pay attention to this game for most of that day. But I also wanted to say I've got to go in 20 minutes. I've got to go to work. But yeah, that's
Well,
what I thought. My thoughts on the rookies. Thank you for letting me talk.
Right.
My bad.
Right. Well, right on. I'm not going to be on here for 20 more minutes because my wife. I'm going to be maybe about 15 more minutes. I'm going to be done at about 12:30 right here at the latest. But I don't know what else we're really going to be talking about right here because I'm almost to the end of these comments. Eric Thomas says I want to see rookie QB Tyson Bagent. Is that how you say his name? Bagent? Tyson Bagent.
Is it Panay?
Benet? Bragnet?
Bajant. That's French.
That sounds like the name of a song.
Well, that's another guy I like to see too. Is Tyler Scott is turning heads at our training camp, wide receiver, and the question was if he's going to be, on the 53 squad, and I picked him because Velus Jones is an iffy wide receiver to me. He's better special teams. And like I said, I was at that game last year with the Bears and Giants game where he fumbled and screwed us. And then he picked it up at the end of the year. But I'm thinking Pettis was a better wide receiver than Velus Jones was. But now Pettis is on the PUP list. So I'm thinking Tyler Scott's going to slide in there. But I'm interested in seeing how he plays this Saturday as well with our quarterbacks.
So do you think that Velus Jones was that are you guys calling that a bust of a pick yet, or are you still
not yet
out? Or?
Not yet. Like I said, he picked it up at the end of the year. He's he was actually doing like the reverses that we were talking about, the RPO, handing the ball off in front of the quarterback. And now you have to do it behind or on the side. So he was picking up some good yards on those reverses. So I think he's going to be used more as a special teams. As long as he keeps the ball and doesn't fumble it like last year, I think he's going to be okay. But I don't think he's a bust yet, which he's turning heads too, like Claypool at training camp. But it's training camp. I want to see on the field and how you do.
And honestly, let me throw this at you on the – if I'm a Bear fan, I'm looking at this crap with Claypool and everything like that. In my mind, I'm going to hope that he gets pushed off by these rookies and that the headache goes right out the door and that the young guys come in and take that production up without having to spend the money and everything. So I like that. Tyler Scott, I have read a little bit about Tyler Scott, and that's me, a guy from the outside, and that looks really good. Sarah says people are underestimating the Vikings defense. I mean, I don't know if they're underestimated. We just don't know any of the players that are on your team.
Your best defensive player, Kendricks, is out. If it wasn't for him, I guarantee you wouldn't have had the division that last year. No way. He was your defense and your team last year.
Yeah. So Harrison Smith is pretty good.
It's hard to underestimate a defense that was below tier last season. It's hard to underestimate a defense like that, especially when it looks like from any perspective you lost more than you gained.
I agree.
Yeah, and I get where they're when you're reading your reports from camp and everybody's doing really, really good from camp. She says our defense was soft last year. It's going to be different this year. Just wait and see. And it's like, and that's it. You have to wait and see. When your defense was bad and then you lost all your best players on that defense, what you're trying to sell this show here, where 75% of the takes are wrong, and here we are on this panel with people where your take is going to be 75% wrong. You're trying to convince us a bunch of guys that we don't know, that we've never heard of, but that Minnesota Viking fan has heard of, are just going to be better than the proven guys that are on our team. Like, especially from the Lions, where we have our front seven with the same defense is coming back. We're getting players back that are proven in this league, that have had Romeo Okwara, 10+ sacks, Charles Harris, 7.5 sacks. Like, these guys are coming back to the team, and they're just depth pieces. And these are proven guys on our depth. You have a bunch of guys that are your starters that nobody knows who they are. And you just say they're going to be all pro. Okay. We'll believe it when we see it. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And I don't hate you for it. That's good. I'm glad that you support your team.
We all have hope. Just like Detroit. 32nd last year, DBs.
Yep.
I mean, you guys picked up Gardner Johnson. You made your DBs better. The Bears. We know what Brisker could do. Tyreek Stevenson. That's all I'm hearing at camp on. He might be getting into that starter role and putting Gordon at the nickel, covering the slot receiver. So, yeah, we got our teams better. And our defensive backfields, linebackers, like the 2 linebackers we signed this year, we're thinking that, we got all these all pro players that we're going to be doing good. We never know. They might not gel with the team. All we can see is, preseason maybe, or, the regular season. And hopefully they gel and make us good. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're talking about rookies replacing proven players.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are talking about non-proven players getting replaced by rookies that nobody knows. And so I can see where you would say, hey, Tremaine Edmonds is going to be good. Why? Because he's been good before, right? TJ Edwards, I think he's going to be good for the team. Why? Because he's been good before. You expect Lewis Seen to be good, where he's your 4th safety, but he's trying to replace guys that we don't know who they are. You have Harrison Smith. There you go. You got a proven commodity there.
Yeah.
But you also had Patrick Peterson last year, who played one of his best seasons as a cornerback, and you got rid of him for a guy that didn't play as good, that's younger, that you're hoping is going to be good. Byron Murphy's okay. He's had a decent career, nothing like top 10 or anything to go, yeah, we got a shutdown. He's not a shutdown corner. He's a decent piece. He's like Cameron Sutton. When I remember looking at the free agency, it was Cameron Sutton and both those guys and Byron Murphy were right next to each other, like 25, 26, right on the list, right there. Same dude. We're not saying Cameron Sutton is Deion Sanders. We're saying he's a good piece. It's a nice piece to throw in your secondary. He's solid. And that's what you have. You have a solid dude. But who do you have behind him?
Well, like they say, you can't fix your problems through free agency. Not all your problems. Some of your problems.
You didn't watch Peterson if you think that he had a career year. No, I didn't watch all of his games. But I did see the way that he was scored on PFF. I mean, I use PFF. If you want to discredit PFF all you want, Sebastian, but that's all I'm saying. It's a PFF grade. I watched him play against the Lions. I watched you beat the Lions.
Well, I'm about to say if there's one question you can ask some of the Viking fans that's in the comments, you can always ask them, where is their confidence level supposed to be with Marcus Davenport over there?
Exactly.
Half a sack Davenport? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, because that's the
Russell,
one,
you had to say that while I was eating.
that was the one free agent signing I remember they got for their defense as far as who's supposed to be replacing Zadarius Smith since they let him go.
But I know that Patrick Peterson and Patrick Peterson had a career year as far as PFF is concerned. He bitched a lot and PFF caved. That's not how it works, Sebastian. Oh gosh. Oh wow. Sebastian shows his colors there. Oh man, I'm gonna leave you alone, Sebastian. I'm gonna let that just hang out there if you're talking about Sebastian if he bitched about it.
Maybe I'll bitch at my boss. Maybe I'll get a raise. Hold on a second. Yeah, right. Not happening.
Oh gosh.
Your boss turns around. Hey, Woody, you could take charge.
Yeah. That's a good point because I said that the other day. If Jalen Johnson does not ball out this year or at least be productive, no extension, he's gone. Now, I don't know if he'll be traded, but I know if he doesn't produce, he's not going to get that, that extension. There's no way. Mm-mm.
So, and I want to defend this other thing too with he had such a bad year. Patrick Peterson had such a bad year last year, and you're trying to convince this panel that cornerbacks that no one's ever heard of are going to be better than Patrick Peterson's version of last year. I don't even know who are you getting to replace him. I mean,
That's
Andrew Booth Jr. isn't the good. I mean, it sounds to me like there's a three-headed monster trying to go for that cornerback 2 position there.
Yep.
Sebastian says that Davenport will get at least 7 sacks, and that's all he needs. Okay. If you're happy with 7 sacks, but he had a half a sack last year, where do you get that from? Where I mean, is he all of a sudden going to learn how to play football? I mean, I don't get that. No. It's go listen to his podcast, dude. Okay. Byron Murphy is better right now than Patrick Peterson is. Okay. That's you talking. Jeffrey says I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the starting lineup. I've triggered all of these Viking fans.
Who are they talking about in the starting lineup?
I don't even. Davenport, maybe. I don't even know. Jeffrey, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the starting lineup. It might be. I think it might be this Broderick Martin. Broderick Martin will have 7 sacks and a ton of pressures. He will raise heck for the offensive line, and I don't know about that. I don't think that's what he does. I think that if Broderick Martin is going to raise the sack total for anybody, it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Broderick Martin isn't the type of dude that's going to be getting sacks. He's going to be the type of dude that requires 2 dudes.
And you're interested in him, right? That's all. I hear his name out of your mouth, Martin. You're interested in seeing how he played, huh?
Well, I mean, I liked Brian. My call was Brian Branch, and Brent brought up Broderick Martin right here. I do like that call because he was a 3rd-round pick, and you expect the 3rd-round picks to come in and do stuff. Jeffrey wants to know how. Oh, Campbell.
Okay.
Jack Campbell. He's done.
I think Campbell's going to play well too.
Do you think he's going to start?
I think he's going to be a rotational piece.
Jack Campbell?
Ooh. That's bold.
I mean, Jack Campbell. If Jack Campbell is not the starting middle linebacker day one, then we shouldn't have used the 18th pick on him.
Okay,
I'll come right out and say that. I mean,
no, don't get me wrong. I've heard Luke Kuechly vibes, and I hope he's Luke Kuechly vibes.
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
If he's Luke Kuechly, that would be fine. But I think he's going to be Jack. He's going to be Jack Campbell because he's not built like Luke Kuechly. He's a different player. He's definitely a different player. He's a freak of an athlete at 6'5", 250.
I loved that pick though. That pick was awesome.
That's one I screamed like a little girl on our draft program. Did you see our draft program? No, we covered the entire draft.
It was my brother. It was the night before my brother's wedding.
So we got part-time football people on here. That's cool. We wanted to make sure that we covered the entire thing so we could say that we did it and that we went 5 days a week and that we are the hardest working non-sanctioned podcast that's out in the world right now because we love to be able to say that, but we also back it up with hard work and the fact that we are here every single day. But yeah, we covered that. And when they picked Jack Campbell, dude, I mean, especially after the Jahmyr Gibbs thing where me and Mike were on the screen going, they just picked a running back at 12 that wasn't Bijan. Like,
well, I wanted your boy Russell I wanted Paris Johnson bad, but I think he went at 7th pick, 6th or 7th.
Paris Johnson, yeah.
Oh boy, did I want him bad. Ooh.
As I recall, he went to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did.
So Sebastian says, I'm going to look up the best recipe for crow because you'll be eating it. You know what? I should do the same thing for you guys. I think that I should do the same thing for you guys, too, because all the Viking fans have been doing is trashing the Lions, saying that they were going to sweep the Lions. So we'll see who's going to be eating crow this year. Because the last time that you played the Lions, it didn't turn out well for you. And that team that played the Lions was better than the team.
I want to ask Sebastian something quick. What do you think the Vikings division record will be this year?
Good question.
Well, judging by that, hey, Sebastian says, this is fun. Glad that we could chat today. And this is what we love about our show right here. Like, Sebastian is a Vikings fan. We are rival fans right here. I have Woody right here, who is a Bear fan. Technically, we're not supposed to be liking each other right here. And here's A-Dub, who is not a Lions fan. He is a Green Bay Packer fan. He's a cheesehead. And we are on here having a football conversation. And it's good. We razz on each other, but we know what's going on, and we just have fun. We just love football.
Yeah, and if people agreed all the time, then the conversation would be boring.
5-1. That means he's supposed to sweep 2 teams and split with 1.
That's generous. 5-1. That's generous. I'm sorry.
That's what we did last year. That's what the Lions did last year. Was 5-1 in the division, and if you can do that, if you go 5-1 in your division, you usually win your division.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can keep that up, he says split with the Lions and possibly the Bears. Who you thinking you coming and popping them Packers? Woo! I love it.
That worked for them last season. Because I remember last season they said they sweep us, they couldn't do it.
You guys were 1-1 last year, right?
Yep.
1-1.
We split. Yeah, we split with the Vikings the past 3 seasons.
Who was the last? I mean, before the Lions last year, who was the last team to sweep the Packers from the division? I mean, I can't remember ever with the Lions.
I don't think I was born, Russell.
If I had to remember any team that might have swept us before, it could have been the Lions.
Maybe with Stafford, like 14 or something like that. But I don't even know about that. I always seemed like when we had Stafford, ever since we had Stafford, it was always like we would split because Stafford never beat good teams, especially on the road. And but that's all right. That's all right. So here we are. I'm glad that I think that we're at the end of this right here. I'm at 32. I gotta bounce here. So I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to plug their show. We're gonna start with you, Woody. I want you to plug that Hallis Hall.
Hallis Hall Report, Sundays and Wednesdays. During the season, though, right now we're doing Sundays, 12:30 Central Standard Time, and Wednesday nights, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Come join us. We have a free giveaway once a month on a Sunday. Come join us, talk some football.
That's awesome.
Awesome. I share a birthday with Ditka, by the way.
So they will the Hallis Hall. They'll be reviewing that preseason game on Sunday when it comes into that. And since Will's on here, I'm going to throw a little a plug out to Jeremy B, Smoking Jeremy B from the Biting Kneecaps. He's with the South Florida Tribune. Make sure that you go and give them a read. And as you know, we're Lions fans here. We represent the Lions, Detroit Lions Villain Squad. Remember, when you follow these pages, you're supporting these pages. You're helping us get it. We're all just a bunch of hacks on here. We're not affiliated. We're just fans of the group right there. Bill the Packer fan. If you're a Packer head and you got Packers news, roster moves, breaking news, Bill the Packer fan can take care of you. And we do our roast post every single week on NFC North Open Mic, which is at 7 p.m. Eastern every single Monday night with your host, Main Event Mike. He joins me here in the morning talking a little bit of football. But if you want some of that smoke, you want to get some of the King of Sting, you can come in on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Remember, that is 6 p.m. on the Central. So for everybody that's on here, you got Woody, you got Will, you got A-Dub. You have been listening to NFC North Talk with Russell Wayne. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
Peace out.
Peace.
Y'all later.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to say peace out, and then I'm going to say peace out now.